You pay $4,400 for a Mido two-door Black Bay, nearly $10,000 for a Rolex Submariner. A Royal Oak Extra Thin? That'll set you back $36,000. These aren't budget buys. They're status symbols, badges of wealth, and supposedly the pinnacle of craftsmanship. Cheap isn't even in the vocabulary. But lately, the line between true luxury and overpriced illusion is starting to blur. And it's not because the prices are dropping. It's because of what's happening behind the scenes, in places most buyers never think to look. Enter Shenzhen, China. On the surface, it's just another high-tech city. But for those in the know, it's the epicenter of the global watch game. Industry insiders estimate that up to 95% of the world's watches, yes, 95, are either assembled, sourced, or fully manufactured here. And we're not just talking knockoffs or budget brands. Shenzhen's factories pump out parts for watches that end up with Swiss logos and eye-watering price tags. Even your so-called purebred Swiss timepiece might be hiding a Chinese-made heart. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's how the modern luxury industry works. Swiss brands often outsource components like dials, cases, or movements to Shenzhen, then assemble and finish the final product in Switzerland just enough to legally stamp Swiss-made on the dial. That label doesn't mean what most people think it does, and Shenzhen has quietly become the backbone of an industry built on tradition, exclusivity, and clever marketing. The myth of Swiss purity? It's starting to crack, and buyers are waking up. A tidal wave of TikTok exposés, factory whistleblowers, and leaked behind-the-scenes footage is shattering the polished image of Swiss watchmaking. These aren't vague accusations, they're visual proof. Video after video shows Chinese factories manufacturing watch components that look virtually identical to those on high-end boutique shelves. Cases, dials, bezels, even bracelets, many made in the same facilities with the same tools, and sometimes even by the same workers who produce for both anonymous micro-brands and luxury icons. What's more, jaw-dropping. Some of these components aren't just lookalikes, they're the real deal. According to former insiders, Chinese suppliers often produce surplus parts that don't make it into official batches. These leftovers sometimes end up on the gray market or in replicas so accurate they could fool a certified appraiser. And since many luxury brands don't manufacture every part themselves, it's entirely possible that what you're seeing on your favorite influencer's wrist and what's coming out of Shenzhen are one and the same. But the real scandal lies in the legal gymnastics behind the Swiss-made label. Swiss law doesn't require that 60% of a watch's components be made in Switzerland, just 60% of its value. That's a critical difference. A Shenzhen factory can manufacture the majority of the physical watch, case, dial, bracelet, and ship it to Switzerland for final assembly and branding. A few screws turned, a movement installed, a final polish, and suddenly it qualifies as a bona fide Swiss-made luxury timepiece. The label may evoke Alps and artisan heritage, but the reality often starts in a warehouse thousands of miles away. This isn't some recent revelation. In fact, it's an open secret within the watch industry. Former employees of high-end watch companies have come forward, claiming they were dismissed for daring to question the authenticity of components used in their brand's timepieces. In some cases, these whistleblowers went further, leaking photos of vintage Swiss watches, crafted as far back as the 1970s, showing Chinese-made parts. In many of these watches, the only part that's undeniably Swiss is the movement itself. The rest, from the case to the bracelet, is often sourced from manufacturers in Asia. It's a reality that has been hiding in plain sight for decades. So why hasn't the full scope of this story surfaced until now? The answer is simple: money. The watch media world is a carefully curated ecosystem where many outlets and influential bloggers rely heavily on sponsorships, brand partnerships, and even free products. Watch brands, particularly the giants like Rolex and Omega, control a significant portion of the industry's ad revenue. That financial muscle creates a conflict of interest, as no outlet or content creator wants to risk biting the hand that feeds them. An honest review or exposé could cost them their next big sponsorship or that coveted invite to a luxury brand's exclusive event. As a result, it's up to the independent voices, unpaid creators, anonymous whistleblowers, and leaked content to pull back the curtain and reveal the truth. These brave few are responsible for disrupting an industry that has been built on carefully crafted illusions. Thanks to their efforts, the once impenetrable luxury watch world is now facing public scrutiny, forcing consumers to question just how much of the luxury they're paying for is real. The scandal surrounding luxury watches hit a boiling point when viral TikTok surfaced, revealing that replica Rolex cases were being shipped directly from Guangdong, China. This was no small discovery. The footage showed workers assembling parts that closely mirrored the iconic designs of Rolex watches, cases, bezels, and even the distinctive oyster bracelet. Just as the videos gained momentum online, Rolex made an unexpected move. They quietly slashed prices by up to 20% on their most coveted models, like the Submariner and GMT Master 2 in specific markets. Was it a coincidence? Absolutely not. Rolex, a brand synonymous with artificial scarcity and exclusivity, never engages in public price cuts. Something big was happening behind the scenes, and the timing was too perfect to ignore. Now let's talk money. A Rolex that sold for $6,000 reportedly costs around $1,200 to $1,500 to manufacture. That's a markup of at least 5 times the production cost. To put that in perspective, companies like Christopher Ward pride themselves on never marking up their watches by more than 3 times the production costs. Even Omega, another heavyweight in the luxury watch world, typically hovers around a 4-time markup. But Rolex? They're in a different league altogether, charging astronomical prices for watches that cost a fraction of the retail price to produce. It's a pricing strategy that's not just about craftsmanship, but about creating an illusion of rarity and worth, one that's now under intense scrutiny. What does this all mean for the average consumer? Well, it means you're not just paying for the watch, you're paying for the brand. Rolex and other high-end luxury brands have built empires on controlling their image, creating a perception of exclusivity, and pricing their products in a way that makes you feel like you're buying into an elite club. But with leaks, whistleblowers, and social media exposés pulling back the curtain on the industry's shady practices, the value of that perceived exclusivity is starting to crumble. The question now is, how much of the luxury is actually real, and how much is just carefully crafted illusion? As the story unravels further, it becomes clear that the world of luxury watches is even murkier than anyone realized. Private Telegram channels, WeChat groups, and underground WhatsApp sellers have emerged as underground hubs for OEM luxury watches. These aren't your typical street-level knockoffs. These watches are crafted using genuine parts from overstocked factory materials, parts that are identical to those used in official releases from top luxury brands. The only thing missing? The final inspection stamp and the logo that makes them official. So, if you're buying one of these, you're getting a watch that's nearly indistinguishable from the real thing, minus the brand markup. What's even more interesting is how the language surrounding these watches has evolved. No longer are they referred to as mere replicas or fakes. The marketing has shifted, with terms like factory homage, same line release, and parallel builds entering the conversation. These labels are carefully crafted to make consumers feel like they're buying the same product they'd get from an authorized retailer, just without the inflated price tag. Essentially, these watches are being sold as identical versions of their luxury counterparts, only without the shiny logo and the hefty markup that comes with it. It's a clever way to blur the lines between authenticity and imitation, offering buyers the luxury experience without the luxury price. This new trend raises some serious questions about what consumers are actually paying for when they buy a luxury watch. If the materials and craftsmanship are essentially the same, is the premium paid for the brand's prestige, or for something else entirely? The growing availability of these so-called factory homage watches suggests that the real value in these luxury items might not lie in their quality, but in their marketing and exclusivity. As more people begin to buy into this alternative market, luxury brands are facing a crisis of legitimacy. And with the growing consumer interest in these parallel builds, the world of high-end watches may never be the same again. But don't get it twisted. While the case and bracelet of a luxury watch might look the part, it's what's inside that separates the real deal from the imitators. The movement is the heart and soul of any high-end timepiece, and this is where fakes often fall apart. In cheaper watches, the ticking can be loud and obnoxious, the accuracy is off, and the durability is laughable. These watches can barely withstand the rigors of daily wear, let alone the pressures of water resistance. Materials used in the internal components are often subpar alloys that scratch easily and lose their finish after just a few wears. The glow-in-the-dark lume? It's dim, inconsistent, and fades quickly. When you wear a fake around true watch enthusiasts, the difference is painfully obvious. Real collectors can spot these discrepancies a mile away. The authenticity of a luxury watch isn't just about how it looks on your wrist, it's about how it feels and performs. A real Rolex or Audemars Piguet has a smooth, fluid motion, with a quiet ticking that speaks volumes about the craftsmanship inside. On the other hand, fakes often exhibit a harsh, stuttering tick that betrays their origins. And when a fake watch is scrutinized by someone in the know, every imperfection, no matter how small, becomes glaringly obvious. Whether it's the misaligned logo, the wrong materials, or the lack of precision in the movement, the flaws don't go unnoticed. Ultimately, this controversy pulls back the curtain on the illusions that drive the luxury watch industry. Prestige pricing, limited supply, and Swiss branding all work together to create an aura of exclusivity and high status that captivates consumers. But the reality behind the scenes is far less glamorous. Mass production, loopholes in regulations, and savvy marketing strategies are what truly drive the market. The luxury watch industry has built an empire on the idea that you're paying for craftsmanship, but in many cases, it's just the illusion of craftsmanship. What we're really paying for is a carefully curated image of rarity and prestige, not the true value of what's inside the watch itself. This doesn't mean that every luxury watch is a scam. There are still brands like Rolex and Omega that produce exceptional timepieces with genuine craftsmanship and reliable movements. These companies have earned their reputations by offering quality that's hard to deny. But what this growing controversy reveals is that we need to take a closer look at what Swiss-made really means in the modern world. The Swiss label, once synonymous with high-quality craftsmanship, now represents a more complex reality. With so many components being sourced from places like Shenzhen, we need to start asking tougher questions about the true value we're getting for the price we pay. The truth is, sometimes the difference between a $500 homage and a $10,000 luxury watch isn't in the materials or craftsmanship, it's in the story being sold. Luxury brands don't just sell watches, they sell an image. That iconic Rolex logo, the history behind Omega, the prestige of owning a Patek Philippe, it's the narrative that elevates these timepieces beyond mere functionality. In many cases, the actual production process is far less glamorous than the marketing campaigns suggest. While you might be paying a premium for a luxurious story, it's important to question whether the price truly reflects the worth of the product itself. So, what should you do next time you're eyeing a Swiss masterpiece? Stay curious, stay skeptical, and dig deeper before making a hefty investment. Take a closer look at the materials, the origin of the components, and the true craftsmanship behind the brand. You might find that what seems like a high-end luxury watch might not offer as much substance as the price tag suggests. Whether it's a $500 homage or a $10,000 Swiss label, the key is understanding what you're really paying for and knowing that sometimes it's not about the watch at all, but the story it tells.